everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Always Open. We are so glad you're here today. I am your host, Barbara Dunkelman, and today I'm joined by two of some of my longest friends that I've ever had, surprisingly. We got Mr. Gustavo Sorola.
Oh, hey.
Yeah, you're one of them. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
And welcome back, Gavin Free, also to the show. Hello.
Yay.
It's like a little RT podcast reunion.
Yeah.
It's been a long time. When did we stop doing that?
The Pancake Podcast was the last one we did, which was February or March?
February.
I thought it was steak.
Oh, no, it was steak.
Yeah. So that was like May.
We got really dumb since that podcast ended.
It's weird not doing that show with you guys anymore. Because I feel like that was my way of like actually knowing what you guys were up to once a week.
We did an episode of Anima recently, and we had Gavin on, and I commented that like I hadn't seen Gavin in person since we did that last episode of RT
really?
Podcast. Yeah,
and I haven't seen you since you came to my house for Anima.
That's been it.
And I haven't seen. I think I saw you when we recorded Always Open, but that was, I think, one of the only times in recent months.
And I was trying not to shit myself the whole recording.
Yeah, he had food poisoning.
Oh,
yeah.
Was it done after that? I meant to follow up with you, but I never did.
Yeah, you never said anything. I could have just shat myself to death and you wouldn't have known.
How guilty would you have felt?
I think I would have known.
No, it was fine. It was fine after that.
Okay, good.
What did you in? What was it?
The poo-poo platter at Tiki Tatsuya.
Really living up to that name.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Gave me
I'm sure no one made that joke ever before.
That used to always make me laugh when I was a little kid.
Poo-poo platter?
Yeah.
It's P-U-P-U, right?
Yeah.
Tiki Tatsuya is...
P-U.
P-U. One of my favorite places in Austin, I
It's
think.
great.
Are you ever going to go back there again?
Should we go?
Yeah. Maybe don't order the poo-poo platter.
I feel like I need to take it on again. See if it does it.
I've eaten that poo-poo platter before, and I've been okay.
You just got bad luck.
Yeah.
It happens.
What if it was one of the drinks?
Can you get food poisoning from booze?
Maybe?
Maybe if the cup was dirty.
I mean, I've drank enough booze to throw up, but
dirty
it's
ice.
usually dirty ice. Yeah.
I hope you don't get food poisoning from what I just did to your glass right before the show started.
Yeah, what?
In a show of dominance, Barbara wiped a bunch of dust off of Gavin's mic directly into his water right before we rolled.
This is a really gammy mic. There's clearly some a load of skin or something all over it.
I think there's just dust.
It's just dust.
On these things. I think they're probably being stored in a place where things get like picked up. It might not even be dust. It might just be like
So you thought,
drywall.
I'll smear it off the mic straight into my cup.
As a thing of courtesy, I was like, oh, let me help dust that off for you. So I just started petting it, not realizing your open glass was right there. Oh,
You're still drinking it. You're fine. I think I grew up in a really small town, kind of out in the middle of nowhere, and I think poo-poo platter was like the first thing I ordered at like a Chinese restaurant. And I think the first time I ate Chinese food, I was like 13.
That old?
Yeah, like I said, I grew up in the middle of nowhere.
That makes sense.
Like there was like the next town over that was 60 miles away, got a Chinese restaurant. And so we went there to eat, and I ordered, like they had a poo-poo platter. And I thought it was funny because I was like 12 or 13. So I ordered that.
Well, here we are in our mid-30s still thinking it's funny.
I feel like Chinese food would be harder to get into if I was that old. Like I grew up with it, so it was just the normal food for me. Like what did you grow up eating?
Mexican food. Or as we called it, food.
Did you ever have
Like
I guess,
the wave.
American, like typical American cuisine, like burgers and hot dogs and stuff?
We had a Dairy Queen and a McDonald's in the town I grew up in.
Ooh.
Yeah, so we were familiar with that, but we rarely ate there.
Is it weird that, I've talked about this on the show before and to you guys before of like, oh, if there's ever a future where I'm not living in Austin anymore and I want to move somewhere that's like maybe more secluded or more...
What do you mean?
Just get away from Austin, not live in Texas.
You'll tell me when you do that, right?
Of course, yeah. I would of course tell you. But it's also like such a dumb reason. But I'm like, I want to live a place that has like DoorDash and Uber Eats. And that
Not too remote.
Not too remote, but I'm just like, I do like the convenience of being able to like eat whatever type of cuisine you want to eat or like order food to your house. That I feel like I would really miss that if I moved somewhere too remote.
I've stopped doing that so much. It's always wrong.
What? Yeah.
It's always wrong. It must be like 50% or more wrong.
Yeah.
Do you not get that?
Yeah. That's I don't do it. I'll pick it up myself.
Oh, really? Oh,
Yeah.
we order all the time. But it is funny that you say that because whenever it's right, we're just like, oh, they got everything. Even our sauces, even like the utensils that we ordered. Wow. It's always Yeah, I guess it's a very low standard now with that kind of stuff.
I also had people kept just leaving the delivery bag of food on the door handle. So that when I open the door, it goes, and it just
is it
slams to the
like a
ground.
latch instead of a doorknob?
Yeah.
Put a little table out front so people will put it on that. Maybe that'll help. Or like some type of... Because like, why wouldn't they just put it on the floor?
And you could, on top of the table, you could put like a picture of yourself with like your face with your mouth open and just write, feed me.
Food
and
go
you could
here.
put, food here.
Or a cold mailbox.
Cold mailbox. Which, does that exist
I think
now?
someone made it.
I don't know. I feel like we should go back in time to revisit all the like weird inventions or like hypotheticals we talked about on the RT podcast and see if those exist now. Because I'm sure they do.
A lot of them do. We're innovative. We're looking forward into the future.
I still remember the podcast where we were making fun of the word selfie.
Oh, yeah.
We're just like, selfie? That'll never.
In our defense, it's still a stupid word.
Yeah,
That's true.
absolutely.
I am at the point now where I feel like for a while I had a good I knew everything we talked about on the podcast. Like, I remember that era. I remember talking about that. Now I watch clips and I'm like, I can't believe that's me. I don't even recognize what we're talking about. Or
Do you still do the thing though? If you watch a clip, you're like, oh, I would respond this way, and then you proceed to respond that way in the clip.
that happens less now. That happened for a while. Like within the last 5 years, I'm like, oh, I should say that, and then I'll say it. I'll be like,
Yeah.
still got it. I'm still me.
Good
but
job, me.
the stuff that's like 10, 12 years ago, I say stuff that makes me laugh, and I'm like, oh, I think it was funny.
Oh, really? I am the complete opposite. I'll watch a clip from like 2013, 2014 RT podcast, and I'm like, I can't believe I fucking said that.
Oh yeah, I
Or,
got plenty of those too.
Oh,
Yeah.
But some of the times, like I've forgotten the jokes.
like, make yourself laugh.
It's part of growing up. You can look back on things you said and cringe about it. We have the unfortunate experience of having a lot of that recorded.
Yeah.
So we
think
definitely do a lot more.
I think it goes through windows of unfortunate, but I think in like 40 years, it'll be funny to look back on.
Enough time to pass. That's very true.
40 years. Okay, I'll be several years dead by then. That's thanks for reminding me of my limited
necessarily.
mortality. 85? You think I'm getting to 85?
Yeah. I think technology is good enough now that you might live that long. Do you not think so?
85. That seems so
Would you not want to live to 85?
old. It's like, I think a couple of my grandparents lived to be their early 80s, and I think they still were with it for the most part until like at the very end. And I feel like 85 is really pushing that edge of when
I think
you
you're
can
going
hold
to
it
be
together or not.
You're going to be such a pissed off old man.
Oh yeah,
It's going to be great.
Yeah. What kind of old man are you going to be?
I probably won't know where I am.
So present day Gavin.
Yeah, there you go.
I wanted to also like catch up with you guys since it's been a while since we've been on a podcast together. Just like anything big in your life happened lately? Any cool things? What have you been up to?
Matthew Perry dying really shat me up.
Dude,
I was really sad about it.
same. That was tough. So the news about that came out, I think October, was it the 29th, 28th, somewhere around there?
Yeah, for us, we're recording right now. It was last week.
Yeah, it's
Like, it has not been a full week, but
yeah, it's currently November 1st that we're recording this.
Like, it would be crazy if he knew that when Friends started, he had like 29 years left.
Yeah.
he was almost halfway through his life.
Yeah. He's the same age. I'm the same age as he was when Friends ended.
Ended?
Yeah.
Fuck. Stuff like
Imagine-
that makes me feel old.
Imagine like 10 years ago you started Friends and then it ended now.
Yeah.
That'd be crazy.
There was a clip I saw on social media of people had like one of those indoor cameras on. They were watching Friends when they found out the news that Matthew Perry had died.
Oh my God.
And like they had just been commenting about how like they love Chandler and like they're his favorite character and all this stuff. And then like you see the wife pick up her phone to like look something up and she's like, oh my God, like he's dead. What? Like
It happened in that moment. Yeah, he was 54. You don't think of someone who's 54 as they have that looming specter of
So
death
much
over
ahead
them or
of them.
anything. Yeah, you'd think that they have a few more decades still.
Yeah, this is devastating. I was right there with you because I actually thought about you, Gavin, because I know that you and I both were like big fans of Friends and like watched it religiously growing up.
I used to fall asleep to it, so
Yeah.
it has like a nice place in my heart.
I missed it. I don't know what I was doing or why, but like I don't know if I've ever seen like a complete single episode of Friends.
Well, I feel like you were like just becoming
Yeah, but
someone out in the world.
on the other hand, like I think Bernie really liked Friends, and I think he's seen all the episodes.
Oh,
so
really?
it's weird. Like he's a little older than me, so it's weird to. I know people who are the same age as me and who are contemporary to me really were into it. I don't know what I was doing when that show came out. I just totally missed
Getting
it.
drunk, probably.
No, I think I was too young for that. Well,
94?
I was 16.
It is devastating though, because I know that he had talked a lot publicly about like trying to get things together, because Matthew Perry very like publicly had struggled with addiction and all types of things of that matter, and was, I think, like really on the up and up, and talking about how he's like really trying to work on himself, and then this happened.
I think he was very physically damaged from a lot of the stuff he took.
Yeah, devastating.
It adds up. When you're young, you think you're invincible and you can keep doing that, and then you get a little older, like, oh, all that does take a toll.
Yeah, I saw this thing about how like at the age we're at now, I think when it starts of when you wake up not feeling good, you're like, am I sick, or is this just how I wake up now? Like, do I just wake up not feeling great?
I feel like whenever I got chest pains in my 20s, I'd be like, what the hell's going on? And now I'm like, is this it?
Oh.
What about you, Gus? What have you been up to?
Not a whole lot. I took a little time off a few weeks ago when my wife and I went on a trip out of the country. Just working on various things, still doing anima. We recorded a test episode of Good Morning Ratman. That's currently, we have a rough cut where we put notes in. We're working on a fine cut, then going to show it. Because we feel like...
And that's you, Elise, and Eric?
Yeah, there's some struggle getting people to understand what the show is internally. Okay. So we made a test episode, and we're going to polish it up to show it to people.
Well, how do you describe it?
Frasier on acid. That's the description we normally go with.
Tell people what it is.
Oh, now I get it.
Oh, clear, very clear. Okay.
It's like
it's scripted, right? Or like
loosely scripted
narrative.
So it's like there is a script, but it's not like every line is written out. There's like points to hit, almost like
beats.
Yeah, kind of like a mix between scripting and improv. So it's like these are all the story beats we need to hit. This is the stuff. This is the points we need to hit throughout the episode. How we get there, we'll find it during the recording.
Interesting. Okay.
So it was a lot of fun. The test episode's like 15 minutes long, so we're hoping to have like a more fine cut. I can show you a fine cut. I have not wanted to show you the rough cut because it's still too rough. We put a lot of notes in, and once we get a fine cut, it'll. I'll let you guys give it a listen.
Oh, I'm very excited to see it.
Yeah.
Or hear it.
Hear it. Yeah.
Audio only.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. We like the idea of playing in the mind's eye. We really want to try to build out like the audio experience, like doors opening and closing, and like like do like a full pass on it.
Like a radio play.
Right, like a radio play. And really have it live in the mind's eye, because I like living in the ambiguity of what a rat man is. Is it a rat that's become humanoid? Is it a man in a rat costume? Is it someone whose last name is Ratman?
Yeah.
Is it like halfway to a Rat King?
We don't know.
Just be like 3 rats.
It's however you imagine it.
What's funny about that, and to plug another show that should be out now actually, Stinky Dragon Adventures, which is the puppet adaptation of Stinky Dragon, the podcast that Gus and I are on. We actually had a character called Rat King that we were going to call Ratman, and we're like, oh no, wait, there's too much confusion. We don't want people thinking that this is that, but it's just like a little tiny character in one episode. It's very funny. But yeah, go check out all these shows. When is that supposed to premiere?
We don't know. Once we get the test episode internally, I think we'll have more guidance on when it's coming out. Right now, I think the time frame would probably, hopefully, fingers crossed, early next year.
Okay. Very cool. 2024 treat.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I have a question here that I wanted to pose to you guys that we actually polled our audience on Discord. So if you're not aware, Rooster Teeth does have a community Discord that you could join, where we post different polls and community interactions. And if you're a first member, you get to participate in these polls, as well as live streams and Discord events and all that fun stuff. So please consider becoming a first member to support what we do and what you guys are working on and everything like that.
Didn't we used to have a forum for that?
We did. Now it's Discord.
Okay.
It's the future.
Discord is way better.
and we have lots of, I think, there's different ways to interact with different shows, like also Tales from the Stinky Dragon, for example. We did a poll on that to figure out what kinds of characters we're going to play in our Baldur's Gate 3
stream.
You
and John did a Baldur's Gate stream.
Yeah, so you should definitely check it out.
Which, by the way, Baldur's Gate, so good. You played it?
I haven't played it.
Do you know?
Yeah. Oh, I finished it.
Oh, you finish it?
Yeah.
We're playing with Blaine and Kristen, and we've all been so busy that we haven't had a chance to continue the campaign.
Yeah. My guilty admission is that I kind of had to speed run the third act, just because it was like there were other games coming out I wanted to play, and I didn't want to leave Baldur's Gate without finishing it, so I just kind of like quickly.
Could you have just paused it, or like kind of?
You know how it is, like you put down a game and you come back to it later, like what was I doing? Where was I? What are these controls?
That's why it's great playing with Kristen, because she keeps track of all that stuff. I just
even the few weeks I hadn't played, when I played that stream with John, I was like, oh, what are the buttons? You know, how do I do this? Then I was like, oh right, I didn't play on mouse and keyboard. I played with a controller. I like to pick up my controller, and I was like, okay, yeah, it started coming back to me.
Gotcha. Very fun game.
I just started Alan Wake.
I want to play that.
That's good.
And play Mario Wonder. Anyway, sorry, I keep distracting.
No, please. The question that our audience did vote on, which I think is perfect for this group, starting today, would you rather never age physically or never age mentally? So essentially, like that part of you stops aging, and it just stays as is.
I think for me, I'd want to preserve mentally where I am right now.
Yeah.
I can go more detail after other people answer. I don't want to affect other people's reactions.
Well, if I don't age physically, would I live longer?
I don't know. That's a good question.
Because I'm sure the deterioration of my brain is a physical thing.
Well, if you want to get in the nitty gritty of it,
I'd pick physically.
Outward appearance.
Well, I just feel like.
Because I think these are two separate things. Like we're talking about the brain as one thing, and then the physical body is another.
Yeah, because I'm going to deteriorate mentally, hopefully in like 30 years.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's
40,
okay.
Maybe 40.
Okay.
But if I look like this for 40 years, it'd be cool.
Yeah, interesting. I have a hard time deciding between the two on this one. Because I'm with you guys where I'm like, oh, I want to stop aging mentally. So I could be like pretty sharp, pretty aware of things. And I find like one of the things that scares me the most is like Alzheimer's or like just losing your memory or not being aware of your surroundings when you get older, and how that's like a terrifying thought. But I'm kind of with you on the like, well, if I look like this when I'm 70.
I mean, I feel like if neither of them prolong my life, then what's the point in being mentally?
Well, I think probably mentally would prolong your life if you stopped aging mentally. Because I think a lot of health issues stem from like mental deterioration.
Think my heart from not stopping though, can I?
True.
Go on. Keep going.
I mean, if you just say no. Just say stop.
I just feel like I don't know. I'm maybe I'm already past a certain hump age-wise where the physical deterioration has already started. And I'm like,
not that bad.
All right, it's fine. Yeah, I can keep managing this.
I'm grayer than you are.
Doesn't mean you're older. But like I don't know. I like you said, I worry about losing mental faculties, and I think it would be very frustrating and scary to experience some of those things. So I think I would rather keep the mental acuity, and you can always try to find a workaround or do whatever you can. I feel like if you have the physicality but you don't have the mental capacity to drive it, what good is the physicality?
It's an interesting perspective.
So that's kind of where that's why I didn't want to say anything. That like my gut reaction is to say mental, because I'd rather have my mental faculties, because then if you're still sharp mentally, even if you don't have the physicality, you can think of workarounds or think of ways to have things
you can also
done.
Still enjoy a lot of aspects of life, I think, versus like if you're physically aging, I don't think it really stops you from enjoying a lot of things. I guess maybe like physical activity and things of that nature, but if you want to still interact with people, read. I
don't want to interact with people. Maybe reading seems fine.
But you think physically you want to stop right now?
Yeah, I want to be the fastest 80-year-old.
They have races, don't they? Like for old people. Like,
do you run at all right now?
No, but I got 40 years to get in shape.
I don't think you need to be very fast once you're 80 to be the fastest 80-year-old.
I want to revisit things in 43 years. How old are you? 36?
35.
35.
Chill out.
I'm sorry. I always forget.
Should we do an RT podcast in 2040?
Yeah.
2040, will I be alive? Okay, yeah, sure.
We all have to come out of retirement or whatever we were doing.
2040, so it's almost 2024, so that's 16 years-ish. give or take.
Yeah.
June 1st, 2040.
Why June 1st?
I'm just picking a date.
Do you think the internet as we know it will still exist
Yeah.
by then?
Yeah, it'll be there, but maybe the way we interact with it is differently. I think defining being on the internet has changed several times over the course of my experience with it. It used to be this thing you had to dial into and connect to, and then when you were done, you would disconnect. Then it became a thing that was always on and always available, and then it became on your computer. You have to go through a website and experience it in a web browser, and then it shifted and became apps. It's what you have on your phone and how you're going to interact with all these different things, not necessarily in like one unified web browser experience.
Now it'd be hard to disconnect all of your stuff from the internet.
Right.
Like if I had to go around the house, it'd be like, oh, that's probably online.
If the internet goes down in my house, it's like a huge catastrophe. Like,
dude,
don't your vents?
Right. It's like I have app controlled air vents.
What?
And they had a server outage last year, and I couldn't control my vents in my app. So it's like I had to get a ladder.
Oh my god! You have to
and manually move my vent to route the air in my house. What a catastrophe! What a fucking awful world we live in.
Just have smart lights and stuff too.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's probably another thing too.
When I moved a few years ago, and after I moved, I had packed everything away. Then I unpacked everything. I spent a day updating my house.
Oh my god.
Software updating. There's software updates for everything.
Yeah, I feel like I got away from it. Every time I got a new phone, I'd have to find where I'd stuck some hub and hit a button on it. I'm just I'm just sod it. I'm going to use a light switch. I'm
going to do the old-fashioned way. That happened to us too. We recently changed internet providers, and with that came a new name and password and everything like that. And as we were just living our lives, we changed everything that we were remember to change. And then I would try to use something, and it's not connecting. What? Oh, we have to update the username and password on this thing. You realize how many things in your house are connected to the internet. Heaven
forbid my router ever dies, because I have so many things with static IPs or different ports forwarded or MAC addresses that are whitelisted. If that ever needs to get replaced, I'm gonna cry. It's gonna be so bad.
Is it not just a Indiana Jones kind of thing?
Well, no, it's all the settings are on there.
Right.
So it's I'd have to find a way to export it all, save it, put it onto the new one. I'm sure you
could have a cloud backup and then just swap it out.
I'm not uploading that to the cloud.
Just your config?
I don't know.
I don't know these things.
Yeah.
What do you think we'll talk about on the 2040 podcast? Man, can you believe Elon Musk went bankrupt 10 years ago? What's crazy?
Only 10 years ago, huh? All right.
I was gonna say. I don't know. Do you think you'll have some offspring?
Some sprogs?
Some sprogs?
I don't know.
I don't know.
Will you have just come back from your vacation to the moon?
Mars.
Had to wait in line for TSA moon pre-check. Someone had their liquids in zero gravity. It got all over the place.
There's going to be a clip of us laughing our asses off about this.
I don't think anyone's setting foot on the moon or Mars again in my lifetime.
You don't think so?
There's plans for the moon.
Yeah, but why?
What? But there's already plans.
Yeah, but what's the point? Do you think they'll go through with it?
To then relearn. It's the stupidest reason. To relearn how to do it, to then go to Mars.
What?
Everything about the moon, the lunar program, well, not everything. A lot of it was lost and forgotten. People retired or no one bothered to save stuff. So no one remembers how to do it anymore.
But Mars is really inconvenient. It's not always in the same place.
Nothing's in the same place.
Yeah, but at least the moon is always the same distance away, kinda. Well, Mars is sometimes 200 million miles away. Sometimes it's 30 million miles away.
Are they wanting to explore it for potential colonization?
I think that's the idea. It's practice. Moon, then Mars, then maybe
I think
else.
Mars is a shit candidate.
Where would you rather go?
We don't go nowhere. We have to. What do you mean?
Well, probably not in our lifetime.
I don't think Mars will work out.
Okay.
How are you going to live on Mars?
I'm not going to live on Mars.
I think you mean the royal you.
Yeah. I know in a previous RTAA I said I'll go to Mars out of spite, motherfucker, but I think that was in a different context.
What planet would you choose if you had to?
See, he has no idea.
We can't get to any.
He's just a naysayer.
Yeah, I mean, it's up for debate. Jupiter.
It's gonna end up being a moon of Jupiter. That's gonna be like
Yeah.
Or like Titan or something.
yeah, the most prime candidate.
How far away is that?
It's baby steps. It changes. Sometimes it's 30 billion miles away. No, it's not that far.
Do you want to see aliens in your lifetime? Like know that they exist physically?
Do I want to see him?
Like yeah. Or would you rather not know that exists or not? Like does it provide a discomfort maybe?
I just don't think it'll happen.
Okay. Cut to 2040.
I want to make all these predictions. I don't want to be on the fence. We won't see aliens.
We have the first alien president of the United States of America in 2040.
Well, according to a lot of people, he's currently in the White House.
I don't know. I would like to see them, but I don't know that that would be a good thing necessarily. I think lots of times our notions about aliens, and even like when you watch like sci-fi movies, I get really frustrated because they always show aliens as being roughly or vaguely humanoid.
Humanoid, yeah.
Yeah, it's like, okay, yeah, it's got 2 arms, it's got 2 legs, it's
eyes.
Bipedal. You can kind of relate to it. When I think the reality would be like it's something you can't comprehend. Like you look at
like 4D goo.
or even fish at the bottom of the ocean.
Oh.
Right, it's like those are things that live on our planet, and you look at it like all the bioluminescence and like the wild stuff. You're like, it could be something like that. So there's a terrible show on Apple TV Plus called Invasion. It's not good at all. Don't watch it.
Okay.
But
Get fucked invaded.
it deals with aliens invading Earth, and there are a few things I like about that show. One of the things I like about that show is the aliens are weird looking. They're almost like a ferrous liquid, where they're like ripply and they move in.
They were kind of like that in Arrival. Was that it? They were kind of like inky.
Yeah. I think in Arrival, you don't ever really get a good look at them, but they like talk in that inky way. But the ones in Invasion look like a magnetic liquid, and they have like different appendages that come out, and they move all strange.
I like that.
So I do like that.
I do agree with that. I think everyone's always depicted them as humanoid, but they look like fucking who knows.
Yeah.
It'd be pretty coincidental for them to be alive at the same time as us and find us.
It's very true. Very true.
Because they're always a different amount of distance away. Sometimes they're closer, sometimes they're further.
What, are they in orbit or something?
They probably are.
All right.
I also like the notion that like if aliens exist, they want to destroy Earth. Like why do we think that is?
Because it's important to us.
Yeah, that's true.
The
way people perceive that thing.
It's also interesting that they're always talking about like, that we've had crashed alien ships. How would an alien get all the way here to this planet and then crash on it?
Right? You think they
Doofus?
How would I get all the way to
Faster
HEB and then crash into a shopping cart?
Yeah, but you didn't have to invent faster than light travel to get to HEB.
They probably. I mean, someone had to invent a car for me to get to HEB to get.
Oh my god!
I didn't have to invent the car. I read something the other day that was kind of scary. Like it's something I'd never considered. That if you think about it, like if you go out at night and you look up in the sky and you see the stars, chances are, any star you see from Earth is going to be part of the Milky Way. Or if you see like a planet, it's something in our solar system. If you were on a planet orbiting a star, let's say in a solar system that was not part of a galaxy, the night sky would be pitch black. There wouldn't be.
Just because you can't...
Like if you were not in
because light hasn't got to you yet?
In a galaxy. Like it's so dim, you can't perceive it with your eyes.
Can you get out of a galaxy?
Conceivably, yeah, there would be...
There's just stars between galaxies?
Right.
That'd be a cool movie.
It's like, how scary would that be to not even see stars and have that be like the normal thing? And it just seems like it would really drive home how vast and empty everything is.
I would hate that.
Yeah.
Be like that island in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean. If there was just one star and one planet outside of...
Do you think you'd rather be stranded in space or stranded in the ocean?
Not like in the mid, like not like halfway down to the bottom of the ocean, like on top of the ocean, right?
Yeah.
On top of space or halfway down space?
I think stranded on the ocean, because at least there's some hope of someone finding you.
Where you can breathe.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, one thing, if there's no hope left at all, at least you could go...
Pull your head off?
Yeah. Versus drowning. I don't know. Neither sound good.
How long would you live without a hat in space? Without a helmet?
What kind of hat would you wear in space if you were an astronaut? I'd wear a cowboy hat. Yeah.
I was going to say a trucker hat just to be different. Space cowboy.
I think it's longer than you think, but it's not very long. There was a great scene in
Magic School Bus, episode 1, where Arnold pulled his helmet off.
The Expanse,
Ba-da-ba-da-ba-ba-da.
where one of the characters has to like make an escape and jump from a ship to another ship without a spacesuit.
And they're able to do it?
Yeah, like they but it's like it's a very quick thing, and it like really messes them up.
I always thought it would be immediate. Like, but maybe not.
Yeah, I think you can last a little bit, but not very long. I think it's probably similar to like, I'm not saying that these movies are factually accurate, but like at the end of the second and third Guardians of the Galaxy's movies.
Oh, right, when they like start freezing.
Right, where it's like you are still there for a little bit.
Do you think you'd shit yourself?
It'd be frozen in.
Depends if you've had a poo-poo platter. All right, well, let's get to some questions before we end the show. We have a couple user-submitted questions for us, as we do on Always Open, which, if you would like to submit a question, you absolutely can, and you can just email that to alwaysopen@roosterteeth.com. We'd love to hear from you. The holidays are here, and with so much to do, the last thing I want to do after a long day is spend hours preparing a quality meal for myself in the kitchen. Well, thankfully, Factor, which happens to be America's #1 ready-to-eat meal delivery service, can help you fuel up fast with chef-prepared, ready-to-eat meals delivered straight to your door. You could choose over 35 meal options every week, and they even have gourmet plus options perfect for the holidays like broccolini, leeks, truffle butter, and asparagus. Plus, they have more than 45 add-on options, including breakfast items like apple cinnamon pancakes and bacon and cheddar egg bites, and beverages options like cold-pressed juices, shakes, and smoothies. You guys have heard me talk about Factor before. I absolutely love them. I cannot stress how easy it is. Literally every meal you can make in 2 minutes. They're delicious, they're nutritious, and I love their shakes and smoothies. They have this chocolate shake that is so good. I like to have it for breakfast or a little snack. I also like their fruit smoothies. It kind of makes me feel healthy, even though I'm not always the healthiest, but Factor definitely helps in that factor. So head to factormeals.com/open50 and use the code open50 to get 50% off. That's code open50 at factormeals.com/open50 to get 50% off. Thank you very much, Factor, for supporting today's episode. Support for today's episode comes from Jenny Kane. And honestly, it's perfect timing to refresh your wardrobe before winter. In case you didn't already know, Jenny Kane is a California brand through and through, and their staples make getting dressed easier than it's ever been before. Think minimalist and effortless, but totally refined. Jenny Kane is known for their super luxe yet lightweight sweaters. The Cashmere Fisherman and Cashmere Cocoon cardigan are bestsellers in every season, but it's always exciting to style them each fall and winter. They also have a stunning collection of home essentials like throw blankets and candles. I love Jenny Kane. They are the perfect essential wardrobe pieces. I have the Chloe crew neck that I love and I wear probably at least once a week, especially now that it's getting colder. Everything goes with everything. They are the perfect basics and they're going to last you a lifetime because the quality is chef's kiss, impeccable. Gift yourself and your loved ones the best gift of all, Jenny Kane. Our listeners get 25% off your first order when you use our exclusive link, jennykane.com/always open. That's 25% off your first order at JENNIKAYNE.com/always open. Let getting dressed be one less thing to worry about. Thank you, Jenny Kane, for supporting our show. This one says, I'm a 26-year-old woman, and my parents told me they were getting a divorce last December. It's a lot to process, and I learned this month, September of 2023, that my dad is buying a big house for himself, his new girlfriend, and her 2 kids. It's sounding like he cheated on my mom with this woman. I will have to meet her soon at my grandma's funeral. It feels like he has abandoned our family for her, but he says he cares about my brother and I a lot, and I know he wants us to accept this woman as part of our lives. I'm a bit of a people pleaser and have social anxiety, so how do I interact with someone I don't like before even meeting them?
There's a lot of unknowns in there.
Very much so.
So
they've been divorced for a year.
Yeah, we'll
sounds like.
we'll have to extrapolate and try to figure out some of the information, like how present has the father been in the intervening 9 months?
That's a good point.
How young are these other children that are living in the house?
How young is the wife?
Right. Like there's a lot of unknowns there. Mm-hmm. So it's hard to speak specifically to that situation, but broadly, high level, I would think that, if you're 26, it's a very different game than being someone who's still living at home.
Absolutely.
Well, like someone who's a minor, I should say, not someone who's living at home. I think
A child.
Right. I think that your relationship changes with your parents.
Yeah.
Obviously, as you age, you're much more dependent on them as a child, and they're much more in your face in your life on the day-to-day. I think by the time you're 26, you're very much living your own life.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I think it's a matter of how much interaction in general this person has with their parents and how involved they are in their day-to-day life. That steers a lot of that, because I think that if there's someone you don't like necessarily, you don't necessarily have to make them part of your day-to-day life.
Yeah. You don't have to see this person a lot.
Right. And, obviously there's a big life event that's happening that's going to force it, and there's going to be others in the future. And,
Right.
and not necessarily just funerals, but there are events that are going to bring you together. And I think it's part of the shitty parts of being an adult, right? You sometimes you just got to like bite your tongue. And
Well, I imagine it's also tough to see your parents as human beings sometimes.
Yeah.
And, she mentioned that in December she found out they were getting a divorce. That probably wasn't a quick decision. Probably was many years that her parents had been
Yeah, I feel like if you're married with kids, it's not sudden.
not a sudden decision. So it might have been something that they had been discussing privately for a really long time. Maybe they had already been somewhat separated, but you just didn't know about it. And so the fact that he moved on seemingly quick might not be as quick as you perceive it, because
Maybe.
they could have already been kind of checked out of that marriage for a while.
yeah, my parents divorced when I was an adult as
Same.
well. I was younger than 26. But that's kind of what my mindset was at the time, trying to navigate all of that and be introduced to new people in your life, It's my situation wasn't exactly like that one. I don't know
Yeah.
how yours was. Did you feel any of the same way from that question?
I remember being bummed, but I was pleased when, people moved on and met other people, and I get on with step parents pretty well.
Yeah.
It's just changes, new people. I
Do
didn't
you still, even though you were an adult when they remarried, you still refer to them as like step parents? Like
Yeah, I guess.
if they were walking in the door right now and you were introducing them to me, would you say, this is my mother and stepfather?
I guess so. I don't think I've ever introduced him that way.
Yeah.
I just call him by his name.
Oh.
So no, you wouldn't.
This is my mom and Jerry.
Yeah, probably that. And her husband. Yeah, I guess so.
Interesting. I think it's just, as you guys said, it's something that might take time. And again, you don't have to love them. If you're an adult woman and potentially living on your own or have your own life, it's not someone you have to see every day. But I think just keeping that communication with your father of hey, I don't want you to forget about us or anything like that, or to prioritize these new people in your life over us. It's about a balance.
I think, she mentions being a people pleaser. And if I were to take a guess, I think maybe she fears betraying who she is and, trying to do more to please someone who she maybe necessarily doesn't feel like she has an obligation to. And I think that's definitely something to keep in mind. You don't necessarily owe this person anything.
That's very true. If anything, they should be trying to please you.
Right. So, stay true to your feelings. You don't have to be mean to them, but, you don't have to love them either.
It's also, I think, probably a situation where you're not even aware of it, but going into it with a bias, because you see your dad who's divorced from your mom now and with someone new. There's probably some, sadness in that situation, but also empathy for your mother who is no longer with this person. And so maybe you're automatically thinking oh, I'm probably not going to like this person, or I hate this person already because they might be the reason that my parents got a divorce, where it's you don't know the reasons necessarily. And that's between your parents and their relationship. But again, your father is a human being. And if he's found happiness with someone and is confident in that relationship, do your best to support it. He's a single man.
So I guess maybe what you're saying is support him as you would hope he would support you.
Yeah, exactly. But
it's complicated. It's part of being an adult.
And it sucks that the first time that they're going to be meeting is at their grandmother's
Yeah,
funeral.
that's not great timing.
Yeah. But it
Bummer,
gives you...
right? It's how do you relate to that?
Right, what do you say? The good thing is you have an excuse if you don't want to be social. Just
Yeah.
you are at a funeral, and if you don't really feel like being all upbeat and, introducing yourself to people you don't have to be.
Yeah.
Not that you ever have to be, but
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think just be mentally prepared. It'll be a bit weird for a while, be a bit political. Christmas will be funny.
yeah.
But, it'll work out in the end.
All right. Well, good luck. And thank you guys for your input on that question.
Yeah.
Let's get to one more. So this one reads, I'm still living at home at the age of 26, male, and some days I don't feel like enough of an adult. Here are a few reasons why. I'm still paying off medical debt and student loan debt, and I'm deathly allergic to animals like cats. I can't exist in a space that has or ever has had cats. I react to airborne dander. This in particular is hard for finding housing. It seems like everyone and their grandma has cats. I work full-time for myself as a family and couples photographer, and I rent a cheap office space down the road so I can work whenever I need, especially as a night owl. I coexist fairly well with my parents, and while they don't charge me rent, I do take care of a lot of things around the house, like cleaning, vacuuming, dishes, lawn maintenance, etc. But lately I've been feeling not enough like an adult. I have friends I grew up with that have multiple children, a house, decent jobs with health insurance. They just seem way more adult than me. I have a family that will occasionally ask me when I'm moving out, because many of them were my age when that happened, but they all had partners they moved in together with. I've struggled with anxiety my whole life, and I'm in therapy for that. And whenever the subject gets brought up, I feel like a kid stuck in an adult's body. The cost of living has grown so much these past few years that I worry about affording it as a single person. But living at home also pretty heavily restricts any amount of dating I would want to do. I'm frustrated with how difficult and expensive it is to exist. Do I need a kick in the ass, or do I need to be kinder to myself?
Interesting.
26-year-old male.
Yeah, I lived with my parents till I moved here. So I was like 23.
Yeah.
Is that right? But yeah, I couldn't really afford to go anywhere. But I also didn't really see a need to move out yet because we weren't like clashing or anything.
Mm-hmm. Which just seems like the case here.
And I was working, and I felt decent about that. I feel like it's one of those things where if you constantly compare yourself to other people, you'll constantly feel like that.
Yeah.
Like, oh, I'm not doing enough. But there's all kinds of people who have done way more than everyone. It's like, it's
Plus,
impossible.
people always put the best aspects of their life forward. No one talks about the things that they're unhappy with or insecure about. So
Right.
You're comparing your life as a whole to the best that someone else is showing you.
Yeah.
a good way of putting
I get that, like, the questions are annoying. It's like, well, when are you doing this? When are you doing that? It's like, whenever I get around to it, son.
That's when
Why
you
do you
just
worry
say,
about
like,
yourself?
That's my life. Like, I'm not making a decision for your life. Yeah.
Yeah, it's tough when it's all comparisons to other people. But I feel like if you're on your own, if you have a slight idea of what you want and you're working towards that, like a lot of my decisions were like, will this help me get my visa to go to America? So I was like doing all these, like, I was trying to like have a goal in the distance and steer all the little things I could control towards that. It took ages though. Mm-hmm. I was just happy doing it.
And it can be frustrated by lack of progress or how long it takes. But in the end, you eventually get there.
Yeah.
I think this idea too that you haven't moved out yet at 26 and that being like, I'm a kid in an adult's body. It's like, it sounds like you're doing some very adult things. Like you have a job, you're saving up to pay off your debt.
Renting an office.
You take care of like a lot of the household chores at home. Like you're definitely not a kid living in an adult's body, and comparing yourself to other people your age who have experienced maybe more typical moments that you think you should achieve by 26 is just being unfair to yourself. Like I know my younger brother, he lived at home until he was, I think 30. No, sorry, 28, 29. And it was just like, he gets to save up his money. He gets to like work on things that he doesn't have to like worry about what he's going to eat for dinner or like grocery shopping, which is great when you have parents who are handling that for you. I would say take advantage of the situation as much as possible.
I mean, we should also get into the mindset of it will take that generation much longer to be able to move out just because of how expensive everything is.
It's really fucking expensive.
It's really unrealistic to. I don't know. I just don't know how, like, sub 25. I don't know how anyone does it, to be honest.
I have no idea.
Yeah, and maybe like if it's something that they're really trying to pursue, like maybe trying to find a roommate, would be an avenue. I think a lot of people don't think about that in that mid 20, late 20 age range, like
a roommate without a cat.
Definitely a roommate without a cat.
Right.
But to your point, what you were saying, I moved out when I was 18. Went to college, dropped out, found jobs, worked, and I felt like I burned myself out by the time I was 24, 25, I moved back in with my parents.
Yeah.
Lived there for a while. I had no plan. Like that's when Rooster Teeth started. And it's like, okay, well then now I'm going to start doing this instead.
Was it harder to live with them the second time?
No, it was easy.
It was fine.
Yeah, it was totally fine. Like, I mean, because
Good to know.
yeah, by then I was an adult and like, they were busy with their own stuff and I was keeping myself busy. And like the person who wrote said, doing stuff around the house, trying to, not be a burden.
What was dating like? Because he
for me, it was non-existent. So,
I do imagine, though, that's a bit of a sticking point, though.
I kind of had this going on that I was working with. But yeah, I mean, it was just like, I definitely kind of, entered a holding pattern with some things. And, then you moved back to Austin and, started working on this stuff that we're doing now. So I think there's despite the stigma this person may be feeling, there's nothing wrong with
absolutely not
living with your parents and just doing what needs to get done. I think that's just the life trajectory. And I don't, like Gavin said, I don't understand how anyone gets out there and lives on their own with this day and age, how expensive everything
economy.
is. Yeah.
It's pretty ridiculous. And I also think, we talk about on the show a lot about like comparison being the thief of joy. And I think that's very true in this situation where you look at the people in your life, your friends or friends of friends, and they're all moving out or having jobs with health insurance, have kids. It's like that's their situation. It doesn't have to be your situation. There's no timeline you have to work on. There's no like, by this age, by this date, I need to achieve this or do that. It's you go at your own speed. And I think trying to compare yourself to what other people are doing, it's tough not to, especially when they're so close to you. But ultimately, that's just not going to do anything to serve you.
Do you think humans would be happier if age wasn't like a popular tracked thing?
100%.
There was just like an existence
Yeah, absolutely.
that was untracked.
Like it's not like I'm 22 or I'm 48.
It would just be like, oh shit, we're alive at the same time.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're both here.
Whoa.
Cool.
Yeah.
What are the odds?
Is your brain developed enough for us to interact on the same level? Yeah, it's a tough one though. I would say just save up, keep saving up, use it to your advantage as much as possible.
Yeah. And then, if you're so inclined, no pressure to, find a goal. Like Gavin said, he had his about trying to do little steps to get to a visa. If there's something big you want to do in your life, you try to visualize what it'll take to get there and then make little steps. Like, don't put any pressure on yourself necessarily, but like if you're at a juncture, you're like, hey, I could do this thing that might eventually help me down the road, do it.
I would even treat it with the mindset of if your parents are cool with it, don't even worry if you have to move back in at some point in the future.
Yeah.
But just go and try something.
Which I'm sure it sounds like your parents are very supportive.
Sounds like it.
If you're living at home at 26 and helping out and everything like that, it sounds like it's a good relationship that you guys have.
Consider yourself lucky because not everyone's like that. Like if you want to compare yourself to everyone, there's plenty of people who would be envious of that kind of situation.
Yeah, and not paying rent or anything like that too, which I think some kids, after a certain age, their parents start charging them to live at home. So yeah, very lucky situation, very fortunate. So ultimately, I would say be kinder to yourself. But if you feel like you would be happier living alone, then just, small steps to work towards that goal. Saving up, researching places that maybe have a no pet policy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the most bummer thing about this story is the cat thing.
I knew you were going to say that. I saw this question. I was like, Gavin needs to see this one. Good luck. Thank you for your question. And Gavin, Gus, thank you very much for your input and for being on the show today.
Yeah.
Thanks for having us.
Appreciate it. Anything you guys want to plug before we finish up?
Watch Tales from the Stinky Dragon. Stinky Dragon Adventures coming out November 9th. I don't know when this episode airs.
This will be out after it.
Okay. Yeah. Go watch Stinky Dragon Adventures on roosterteeth.com.
Absolutely.
Bleep face.
Bleep face.
Search for it on all your favorite podcast platforms.
It's really, really good. I listen to all your podcasts. I listen to Anma. I listen to Bleep face.
Oh, yeah. Go listen to Anma, too. Sorry.
Oh, yeah. And Anma. And potentially Good Morning Ratman, depending on whenever that comes out.
Good News Ratman.
Good News Ratman. Sorry. Did I say Good Morning?
Trust me, that's going to get worked in.
Yeah.
Good morning from Rat.
All right. Well, thank you guys so much for watching the show. We appreciate you being here. And again, if you can, sign up for First, as it supports everything we do here at Rooster Teeth, on the show, for Stinky Dragon, for Bleep Face, everything. Helps us do what we do. And subscribe to this channel if you're not already, and follow us on social media. It's a good time, and we'd love to see you there. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you next week.
See you in 2040.